We're doing it live. We're doing it live. We're do it live. We'll do it live. Okay, so today's topic is the Epstein documents. They are torturing orphans. They are torturing orphans. They are torturing orphans. They're trafficking orphans. They're raping orphans. They're torturing orphans. They're killing orphans. That's what the Epstein documents prove, but there's reports about. And this is something that I have been saying since at least 2012, 2013, 2014. In fact, I was one of the first people to start going around to my local government offices with a file filled with information, just showing what the Obama administration was supporting and different things like that. And anyway, so the Epstein documents have come out, some of them, and it's exactly all the same stuff that we've been saying the whole time. Now, I want to take you back to around 2014, 2015. That's when the Daily Stormer was running hot. Okay, that's when the Daily Stormer was running hot. The Daily Stormer was a big attraction on the internet among neo-Nazis, anti-Semites, the Ku Klux Klan. Okay, this was called the Daily Stormer. And the Daily Stormer was running, was very popular. That's where Lucas Gage came out of. That's where Nick Fuentes came out of. What's his name? Richard Spencer. He wasn't involved in it, but he was like one of the associates, people that would whose speeches or articles would be replicated on the Daily Stormer. Now, back then, I was telling Andrew Anglin through the comment section and the other people through the comment section to focus, and also through emails, to focus on this child abuse angle of the Jewish mafia. Why? Because I knew that that's what they were involved in, because they're so obvious about it. Like, it's so obvious that the people that run Hollywood and that run New York and that are involved in ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, PBS, it's so obvious that these people are covering up horrible crimes. And I knew what those crimes were. It was just so obvious. So because Andrew Anglin, I would just tell him, and I would tell everybody else on there, and anybody I came in contact with that was associated with right-wing agitation, I would tell them to focus on this angle of Jewish organized child abuse, crime, running kids, and all this kind of stuff. I was the one telling them to do that way back in 2014, 2015. And now I've succeeded because the Epstein files have been released in part, and they show exactly what I was talking about. And so this is the thing you have to understand. On YouTube, my content is heavily restricted. On Facebook, my content is restricted. On X, my content is suspended. And it's because I talk about the mafia. I talk about the mafia. And when I talk about the mafia, I show you a very clear picture of who the criminals are, who belongs in prison, and who doesn't. Okay? And so if people were listening to me, then it would be pretty obvious who needs to be arrested and sent to prison, right? It would be pretty obvious. And so when you have groups like the Anti-Defamation League, for example, see, I used to go on the Daily Stormer or talk to Andrew Anglin or whoever through the comment section. I mean, he doesn't know who I am other than I sent him an email a couple times or talk to him through the comment section. But I would say, bro, you know, the Anti-Defamation League, I go, if you go on their website, it's got a whole list of books that they're trying to promote. And these books are all about transitioning kids into becoming transsexuals and growing up in a house with two homosexual parents, two gay dads. You see, I mean, the whole thing of the orientation of the Jewish mafia, the Anti-Defamation League, has been this the whole time. And then you look at people like Alan Dershowitz, and Alan Dershowitz, he's on the Glenn Beck show, and Alan Dershowitz is on Newsmax, and Alan Dershowitz is on CNN, and Alan Dershowitz is on with Alex Jones, and Alan Dershowitz is on Rumble, and Alan Dershowitz has a bank account, and Alan Dershowitz has all this, access to the media. He's got access to the president. You know that Donald Trump, hi, welcome. Please tell me if you have anything to say about the Epstein documents. Your input is welcome. So I was talking about Alan Dershowitz. So Alan Dershowitz, over the holidays here, was invited by the White House to come to some Shabbat Lubavitch Hanukkah ceremony, right? And this is what I'm talking about. These people like Alan Dershowitz, these people like Ron Lauder, who were like best friends with Jeffrey Epstein, and Les Wexner, and all these people at Harvard that Donald Trump's been working for with Harvard to get rid of the anti-Semites. Well, Harvard, I mean, if you just look at the picture I posted on the front of this video, I mean, it's Jeffrey Epstein has a shirt on that says Harvard, and he's standing next to Alan Dershowitz, and that's where Les Wexner is. And see, you got to understand. You have to understand who these people are. Now, these are the same people that go around saying, you're bad, waving their finger at you, right? For my whole life, through the media, it's been this group of people waving their finger at me. I'm literally having my finger waved at me by a genocidal, psychotic, organized child abuse cult. And they're going to wave their finger at me. I will take that finger and I will smash it to a million pieces. That's why people don't want me talking on the internet, right? Because what I'm going to tell you is the finger that's wagging in your face by Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro and Alan Dershowitz, that's the finger of organized child abuse. And they're torturing children from orphan. They're literally trafficking orphans and torturing them. That's what I'm saying. You see? Do you see why my content is not so welcome over at Hateberg, or on Elon Musk's platform? But I'm never going to stop talking about it. Everybody who knows me knows exactly how I feel about this every single day. I'll talk to anybody. I'll say it to anyone, anywhere. Now, this is the other thing that we've run into with the Antifa thing, right? Because the Antifa for so long, and it's like, it's not really changed, but there's some people that are in that Antifa group that kind of moved over towards our side a little bit, towards the anti-Semites, so to speak, if you want to call it that. But the Antifa has been used by these people, by the Jewish mafia that's running the kids, to attack us. And it's like, this is kind of the thing I remember, like, because when the election was happening and it was Hillary Clinton, and because see, this is when we started this stuff on the Daily Stormer before the election, and the Daily Stormer was already starting to do this, and I was already going. I went to Homeland Security. I went to the states. Okay, dude, listen to something. I went to the state police in Santa Ana with a file that showed what these Jewish mafia, ADL, and all these other Jewish mafia were posting on their own websites about kids, and how the Santa Ana library hosted a drag queen for kids with the mayor there. And so I just had screenshots of YouTube of what the mayor of Santa Ana was doing in a library with drag queens with kids. And the federal building, the Ronald Reagan Federal Building in Santa Ana, is right across the street from where they have all these kind of things. And so I went to the U.S. Marshals. I went to Homeland Security. I went to the district attorney's office in Orange County. I went to the state police in Santa Ana. I went to the sheriff's department. The sheriff's department was actually the most interesting one, because the sheriff's department was shocked that I had this information. Like I handed them this information, and they were shocked by it. They didn't do anything about it, but they were shocked. I don't know whatever happened with it. They were just freaked out that I was walking in, showing them stuff. And like what I'm saying by showing them stuff, I'm not showing them like pictures that are like anything creepy, but it's just creepy enough. Like it's just creepy enough, and it's being promoted by the Anti-Defamation League and by these other people affiliated with the FBI and with B'nai B'rith. You see what I mean? It was just creepy enough to be like, whoa, what's going on? Why, what is this? Alex Jones picked this up on his show, and then he started running with it. After I sent him an email showing him of that demon over in the Barack Obama Library in Long Beach, the Michelle Obama Library in Long Beach, reading to kids. See, I sent him that email, and then he ran that on his show. So that's what I'm telling you, like how long I've been doing this. Now, of course, in that picture, if you see a picture of a demon and the demon's fully dressed, it's a male, he's got tattoos all over, and I know who the man is. I looked up his name. He's an actual drug addict and an actual prostitute. And he's wearing that demon horn outfit. And he's got the little 2 kids in the Michelle Obama Library. See, I know who that guy was. I know what kind of drugs he takes. Okay. I know that he's a ketamine addict and a crystal meth addict. You see, that's how long I've been doing this. That was 2015. That was 10 years ago. Okay. That was 10 years ago. So finally we got some stuff going on. But Donald Trump tried to cover this up. And that was the whole thing. Is the whole reason why we backed him was to be a wrecking ball. And he was like, I'm tough. I'm the strong man. Turned out to be a limp-wristed sodomite. Unfortunately, he's limp-wristed. He covers for these people. And that's been the problem the whole time. Is there's people like me who are saying, I want the mafia to be wrecked. And when I mean wrecked, I mean violently wrecked. I want the mafia, organized crime, to be violently wrecked. And then as like in order to get popular acceptance for that, you have to be able to speak. You have to be able to tell people what these people are doing. And then the popular movement grows, and then finally people pick up their pitchforks and they hunt down the mafia, and with their fans, they separate the wheat from the chaff, and they throw the chaff into the unquenchable fire of Matthew chapter 3. And so the barrier to that the whole time has been the FBI and the DOJ that are tied to the Anti-Defamation League and B'nai B'rith and Ron Lauder. And Ron Lauder is Donald Trump's best friend, and this has been the problem. And this has been the problem. This has been the barrier. We thought Donald Trump was going to be our guy, and he isn't. His hand had to be forced to do this. How do I have to force your hand to want to annihilate a ring of mafia that traffics and tortures and kills orphans? How do I have to twist your arm in order to do that? Dan Bongino. How do I have to twist your arm to do that? You fucking piece of shit. You see what I mean? It's frustrating. It's frustrating. But we're making progress. We're making progress. Now, this is why the Jewish mafia has such close ties with the Antifa. The Antifa are lunatics. They're sadly and I almost don't hate them for this reason. Because I understand what happened to them, because I grew up in America and I saw what happened to everybody. I saw the fact that when you're 5 years old, you're dumped off at a concentration camp with a bunch of strangers, and your mommy goes home and she does something else. She doesn't raise you. You're being raised by strangers in a concentration camp. And then you're put on drugs, and you're in this strange environment, and some of the kids are bullied, and they're like, it's a traumatic, like the whole idea of taking kids away from their parents at 5 years old and raising them in these public school, aka concentration camps, is what turns these kids into adult lunatics. And that's why America, that along with the drugs, it started with the regular drugs, and then all the hormones, and then all the psychiatric medications. It's like, it's no wonder why America has become such a schizophrenic country. And the Antifa are used. The Antifa are used by these people in order to do this. They're used by them. So, yeah. So what needs to happen now is this. The finger wavers named Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro and all the rest of the whole gang that likes to call everybody anti-Semite, and you hate the Jews, and you're an anti-Semite, and you're a Holocaust denier, and blah, 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 blah. Well, you're literally, okay, you guys, literally your team, and you're covering it up. Like, you got to understand something. Ben Shapiro and Matt Walsh and Sean Hannity, and that whole gang in the Republican media has covered up the whole time the torture of orphans. The sexual trafficking and torture of orphans has been covered up the whole time by this group of Jewish mafia and their shills like Sean Hannity and others in the Republican media the whole time. The whole time. These are the people that call you names. Like, these are the finger waggers. You're an anti-Semite. You're an anti-Semite. And meanwhile, they're literally running a child trafficking, child torture, like literally torturing orphans. How many times do I have to say it? See, this is why I'm saying, and this is why I told Andrew Anglin a long time ago. I don't even know that he remembers me telling him this, but I told everybody this. Like back in 2015, whatever. I don't even remember what people were talking about, but I was going on my Facebook page way back then, probably a different one than I have now, and I was just unloading all this stuff of like screenshots of what the ADL was promoting on their website of the quote unquote gay kids. Right. That was the thing, right? It's like, here's a group of people that's telling you about Hitler was bad and he did this and he did that. Really? Because I just looked on your website, Abe Foxman or John Greenblatt, and you've got a whole section on there of gay kids and having two dads and being a gay boy and wearing a dress. And why the fuck are you doing that? Why the fuck are you doing that? See, these people, John Greenblatt belongs in prison for just for that, like for promoting that on his. If it was up to me, these people would be in prison. And I'm a pretty humane person, so I'm not for just going around killing people. I would keep him alive in a prison, in a literal work camp where he would literally have to do work. And for him, that would probably be worse than death. He would probably, once he got released, he would probably claim that he was stuck in a gas chamber. Like, that's how much they hate having to do actual productive work. But I wouldn't kill John Greenblatt. I wouldn't kill him. I would just make him do a job like, I don't know. What did Hitler do? When Hitler arrested the Rothschilds, he put him to work cleaning toilets. I think that would be a good job for John Greenblatt. Cleaning toilets. Of course, how can a piece of shit clean a toilet? I don't know. I don't know if that's going to work. Anyway, welcome. Let me know if you have any updates. So let me read you some. I just went on InfoWars because they're covering it. I've got a tweet here by a guy called Simulator di Tutti I Simulatori. It says, here's the founder of an adoption charity asking Epstein if he needed any new stakes for his island because he only had 2 left. This is Tuesday, April 16th, I'm going to guess 2012-ish, sometime around there. 12, 16, 15, 14, 13. Anyway, it says, I will be sending fresh muffins down to Karen's or something. I can't see the whole email. You currently have 2 steaks left on the island, and then like asking if he wants more. So this is apparently this is Susan Hamblin, who runs an adoption agency, contacting Jeffrey Epstein, asking him if he'd like some muffins. That she's sending over some muffins and does he need any more steaks on his island? You see, you know who just came to mind? This fucking piece of shit mafia, Michael Francese. This fucking piece of shit mafia, Michael Francese, who goes on, who claims to be, he's a pastor now, and he says that Jews are God's chosen people. He lives in Newport Beach, which isn't too far from me. And maybe I'd be worried about him if his son wasn't such a complete fucking, what do you call it, sodomite. These people are pieces of shit. The mafia, the fucking scum mafia, are fucking pieces of shit. They're fucking pieces of shit. And they're lucky. These fucking mafia trash are lucky that the police protect them. They're lucky that they have police protection. They are so lucky. Because I don't do things that are illegal. It's against my... See, the reason why I don't do anything illegal, let me put it to you this way. It's not that I wouldn't want to. It's that it doesn't do me any good to end up in prison, right? So if I just go on here and talk and I tell you what's going on, that's actually more damaging because I can keep doing that year after year after year after year. I can keep running my mouth. You see, I can keep running my mouth year after year and telling you who the mafia is, what they're involved in. And it may take 10 years before you find out. But see, that's more harmful to them than some stupid act of violence. Now, Sun Tzu says that does he say the war is won before the battle is fought or something like that? That's a good point. See, if you want to get into a position where you can actually use force against these mafia trash, you're going to have to get control of the courts first. You'd have to get control of the FBI and you'd have to get control of the DOJ, which is what we were trying to do with Trump, but we failed at that end. So that end failed. We never got control of the courts. We never got control of the FBI. We never got control of the DOJ. Trump went in there and bent the knee to the Jewish mafia and Les Wexner and Ron Lauder, and he just turned all of our efforts around on us and said we're the bad guys and the mafia is good and let's bomb Iran and let's cover everything up. Well, that didn't work out exactly how he wanted it to because Iran fired missiles back, and then Thomas Massie said, "No, we're gonna open up those files." So Mrs. Pam Bondi, who says there are no files, there don't even exist. See, that was all bullshit. They're liars, and they're lying. You gotta understand something. Pam Bondi, Dan Bongino, what's the other fuckhead's name? That stupid piece of shit, Kash Patel. Not only are they lying, but they're lying on behalf of a group of orphan trafficking, murder, like a group of people that literally tortures orphans. That's who they're lying for. They're lying on behalf of a group of people that tortures and murders orphans and sexually assaults orphans in order to blackmail people. That's who these fucking scumbags are. That's who these fucking scumbags are. They are such pieces of shit. And this is why I love being able to say the truth. Because this me just saying this does more damage than anything else I could do. I can sit here and run my mouth. That's what I'm going to do. It's getting harder to do on Facebook, and it's impossible to do on Twitter, but I'm still going to keep doing it anywhere I can. Yeah. What else we got? Okay, so let's look at some more of this. Alex Jones was reporting on some of this stuff. He's got another tweet. Here's another one. This is from DC Drano. Was posted on Twitter. It says to Jeffrey E. GEE vacation at gmail.com. This is from March, April, May 30th, 2014 at 6:59 p.m. People assume this is, well, I don't know who this is. It says, so this is a person who says, I give you permission to kill him. He is apparently with, and then it's blacked out. It's also blacked out who this is from. But the tweet says, or the message to Jeffrey Epstein says, I give you permission to kill him. He is apparently with the blank. He lied to you and he lied to me. Sent from iPhone. Don't know who that person is or agency is that it says he's with. But that's the tweet. So they're killing people. They're torturing kids. And I think it's as bad as you can imagine. Like, I think the stuff that they're doing is as bad. Now, that was the other thing. And I was just watching Jake Shields talk about this on his YouTube channel yesterday, is that you can't spend too much time like digging into what all the stuff they're doing. Because what happens is you keep having to subject yourself to what these people do. And once you understand what they do, you don't need to keep like looking at it and digging into it. It's like, and then but here's the part of it. Here's this next part of it. Then you
attention, possible price reversal.
Okay, gold or silver is price reversing. The thing is, once you understand who these people are and what they're doing, now the thing that you don't do is you don't let them wag their finger in your face. When you see that finger going into your face, you grab that fucking finger and you snap it. So when Mark Levin's wagging his finger, calling you an anti-Semite, you grab that finger, theoretically, and you break it off, and then you shove that finger right back into his mouth, and you hope that he chokes on it, because he's such a fucking piece of shit. He's such a fucking him, Ben Shapiro, the Daily Wire, TPUSA are all run by these people. Which brings me to Charlie Kirk. I miss Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk figured out who these people are. That's why they shot him. But I only heard Charlie Kirk on the radio a couple times, and one of them he was talking about how he had come to the conclusion that it was in fact this Jewish mafia that was running all this shit and destroying the country. And I was shocked by it when I heard it. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe he just said that on his show. I'd only listened to his show for a short time. I'd catch it once in a while when I was driving around. And then like it was that day or the day before or something. The other thing that he said, because he had been talking a lot about the Epstein stuff. And then I guess what was happening is he was getting major pressure from Donald Trump and others to shut the fuck up. And it was right around the same time where he talked about the Jewish mafia. And he goes, I'm done talking about Epstein. I'm done talking about Epstein. This is when all the Republican media said, we don't even need to talk about this because who cares? It was about the same time. But he said it in a way it was more like, I'm getting pressured. I'm done talking about it. And then a week or two, no, it was probably about a month later, he was dead. He was shot. They killed him. That's who's wagging their finger at you and calling you an anti-Semite and telling you to remember the Holocaust and that Hitler was bad. See, these are the same people telling you how bad Hitler was. The people that are torturing orphans every year, year after year, they're the ones behind the Holocaust memorials and the Hitler was bad and we can never have another Hitler and we got to crush the anti-Semites and we have to put people in jail for being anti-Semites and we have to put Ursula Haverback in jail and we have to put all these other Germans in jail because they don't believe in the whole, like, this is the group. This is what I've been saying the whole time. That's the group. It's the orphan trafficking, orphan murdering pieces of shit that run the Anti-Defamation League and B'nai B'rith with Ron Lauder and the whole gang. That's who it's been the whole time. That's what I've been saying on my show the whole time. As long as I've been doing this show, I've been saying the exact same thing. I've been saying the same thing. This is why I don't have. This is why you don't have I don't have a bunch of rich people. I mean, I don't even think Nick Fuentes covers this really. Probably, he goes around the edges of it a little bit. He doesn't ignore it totally, but this is why I don't have a big platform. This is why it's hard for me to stay on a platform. But I'll never stop. You can never stop me. You can stop me about as easily as you can stop the eternal word of God, Jesus Christ, from reaching his disciples. Okay? Ain't gonna happen. Ain't gonna happen. I will never bend my knee to you. If you ever see me bending my knee to you, it's because I'm about to grab your fucking foot and swing you around and smash your head into a wall. Okay? That's what happens. That's what's gonna happen. I will never bend my knee to the mafia. I will never bend my knee to the mafia. The only thing I want to see the mafia do is be vaporized into a pink mist. That's what I think of the fucking mafia. That's what I think of the fucking mafia scum. Trash. Fucking trash. So anyway, that's just what I think about him. And I'm going to keep talking about it. Hopefully I'll get a popular support for people that don't like crime and want to go do something about the mafia. But we're not going to do anything illegal. We're just going to talk about how evil they are until enough people realize that something should be done. And then we're going to insist that it's the police that do it. We're going to insist that the police take action because they're not. The FBI is not. That's the problem. See, that's the problem we've been in the whole time. And our tactic the whole time, the far right, because we're not allowed to do anything. We're not allowed to say anything. We're not allowed to organize. So our tactic the whole time has been to push this Epstein stuff so that people know who they are. And then it gets popular support for an eventual raiding of their property. So what should happen? Like, what should actually happen? See, what you're thinking, Brian, you're talking about pink mist and violence. Well, here's what I would like to see happen. I'm going to tell you exactly what I'd like to see happen. I would like to see the executive branch of the government, from the president and the governors of all the states, but of course they'd have to be the right people because Tim Walz is a criminal and he's actually involved in all this stuff. And I don't know about Gavin Newsom. I assume he's not doing anything to stop these people. That's for sure. But so it would have to be the president and the governors and all the people that are under them in the executive branch, all the police forces, and all the attorneys' offices would have to turn on the mafia and go after them and just annihilate them. That's not happening. It's not happening. It hasn't happened as long as I've been alive. And the reason is because they're run by the mafia. The mafia knows the key positions in the government they have to control. It's the district attorney's office, or it's the Department of Justice. It's the FBI. It's the CIA. It's the Department of Homeland Security through the executive branch of the government. Like they just have to control a small group. And as long as they just keep that group in power on the left and on the right, they just keep those same people in power, nothing ever gets done. And that's where we've been. And that's what we were trying to overcome with this kind of stuff. So let's see what else is going on here. Let's see if Alex Jones has any other interesting tweets on here. No one. What does this one say? Oh, that's the. Let's see. On the yacht, he witnessed babies being dismembered, their intestines removed, and individuals eating feces from those intestines. Let's look at this one. If I can even look, because it's on Twitter. I don't know if I'm going to be able to see it. Let's see what it says. I can't see it. I can see it maybe with this. Something about George Bush. I didn't realize Bush raped him too. Okay. That was what it says. Something about on a yacht. Just sadistic, weird shit, dude. But that's who these people are. Like, that's why, look, when you know that when let's say you find out somebody's like, you found out this crime happened, and you go to somebody like, bro, they're like doing this weird crime, and you get this weird look on their face. Oh, that's crazy. And then they just kind of creep off and walk away. That's been our government the whole time. That's been George Bush and Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton and the Republican media the whole time, and the Democrat media. And you need a tinfoil hat and you're crazy and this and that. And then they push all this trash. but it's almost like you don't even need to read all these emails. Just look at their shit culture that they push. Okay, let me go back to this. You got to understand. Why isn't Donald Trump today making a list of all the pornographers in America and having all their bank accounts frozen and all their assets seized? Because, okay, let me tell you this. You don't have to charge someone with a crime to seize their bank accounts or freeze them or get rid of their accounts. You just send an FBI just sends an email to the bank and the account's gone. So why isn't Donald Trump making a list of all these pornographers that run America, all the porno websites in America, and just going through a list of every single, just making a list of all those people and nixing their bank account so that they can't transact money. And then on top of it, sending the FBI to investigate them to see if there is anything else they're involved in. I mean, they're involved in pornography. Maybe they're involved in some other crimes. You ever think of that? Maybe you could find some other stuff they're involved in. I mean, if they're going to do pornography, I mean, it's not like they have some really like, oh, well, that's perfectly legal. Okay, it might be legal, but let's see if there's anything else they're involved in. Like literally, you could stick the IRS and the FBI and all kinds of agencies on these people to just destroy them. But who do they send? Who do they send those kind of agencies on? They send them on people like me, or people like people that are so-called racists, or people that are so-called anti-Semites that criticize the Jews. You see, those are the people that get the brunt of the police, the federal policing. This has been the problem in America. It's been run by organized crime the whole time. If I was the president or whatever, I didn't even want to be the president. I want to be more like a dictator with unlimited executive power. I would round up every single one of those pornographers, and I don't want to say I would kill them because I'm a humane person. I don't really want to kill, but I would definitely put them in a work camp, which they would feel was as bad as being. They would probably say that it was like literally being sprayed with bug spray by Adolf Hitler. That's the kind of work camp I would put them in. But I wouldn't actually kill them. They'd live to tell about it. There'd be a lot of survivors that would say, I survived the bug spray. Because there wouldn't even be bug spray. Or if there was, it'd be for some other purpose. Like it would for actually using against bugs. But anyway, you get my point. Like these people should be treated with the utmost hatred. And I'm not talking about quote unquote Jews. I'm talking about the mafia. They don't have to be Jews. They can be people from TPUSA or the Daily Wire or whoever. It doesn't matter. Anyone connected to the mafia. Anyone pushing this shit on us. So what I was saying is, it's almost like, you can look through these WikiLeaks or this new thing with the FBI the DOJ just released all this stuff about Epstein files. You can look at it and you can see what these people are into. But you don't even have to look at that. Just go watch the entertainment they're pushing. See, the entertainment that they push on you at the Super Bowl, at the fucking at the Academy Awards, at all these different entertainment venues, that's the same trash because it's the same trashy shit people. You see what I mean? You actually don't need all this other information. It just verifies who they are. But I mean, it's literally just the scum of the earth. It's the absolute fucking trash of the earth. And so you don't have to go through. You don't have to. The DOJ I didn't even have to see these files. I already know who these people are. I already know they're pieces of shit. I know exactly who they are. They're fucking scum trash. They torture orphans, but of course they do, because that's who they are. They're pieces of shit. I don't need a file to tell me that. I can tell it just by looking at them. I can tell that just by listening to them talk and what they talk about. You see? I knew it the whole time. I've known who these people were the whole time. I knew they were demons the whole time. They're fucking scum. They are scum. And the people that ran Jeffrey Epstein, in particular, the Jewish mafia that was involved in Jeffrey Epstein, is L Brands. Oh, that's right. So L Brands. So that's Les Wexner, and he makes bath products for women, and the lingerie store. See, that's who these people are, right? And it's all this stuff. That's why they're pushing all this rainbow shit and the trans shit. This is all emanating out of the Jeffrey Epstein mafia shit. It's the same scumbags. Now, for people that are actually mentally ill, okay, and they actually have some kind of sexual problem where they're mentally ill and they're doing some trans stuff. See, what's the government want to do? Oh, we'll do a surgery on them. I wouldn't do that. I would try and help that person. The government makes it legal to do surgeries on them because they're fucking sadistic assholes, including the Republicans. And the Republicans go, well, they're over 18, so we can do the surgeries. See? In other words, they legalized it. People think, oh, it's this big victory. If you're under 18, you don't do the surgery. But if you're over 18, you can. See? They're literally mutilating people that are mentally ill. And how did those people become mentally ill? Were they put on drugs that were passed by the FDA that made them mentally ill? Were they subjected to other drugs like LSD or marijuana that made them mentally ill? Right? Were they dropped off in a concentration camp called a public school at the age of 5, which was traumatizing for them and made them crazy, along with all the other shit and all the poison in the food that's allowed by the Food and Drug Administration. See, so, it's like, instead of helping those people, the next step that this piece of shit fucking mafia government does a surgery on them because they'll make money. These people are evil. They're scum. They're fucking trash. They're complete fucking trash. It's evil. It's satanic. And if you know that and you talk about that, you're not allowed to talk. They want to cut your communication lines. Who? The Jewish mafia. Hateberg. I call it Hateberg now. Meta, Palantir, Twitter, all these different social media companies that are pushing it on behalf of this mafia, the sadistic, genocidal, pervert, child abuse mafia. They're the ones that don't want you to talk. And so we do need a government that's going to smash these people to pieces. We need a government to do it. See, I can't do it because I'll go to prison. So I want a government that will do it for me. So it's legal and it's just. See, it's not that. See, if I did it, it might be just for me to do, but I'll still go to prison. So I want it to be done. I want the justice to come through the legal channels so that I don't go to prison and so that the police can do it and it's legal. I want it done legally. I want the justice to be handed out legally. Okay, that's what I want. That's what I've always wanted. Because I worship the Logos. Because I worship Jesus Christ, the Logos. Not the guy in the story, but the Logos, which is the truth, which is righteousness. See? The mafia, this Jewish mafia and these other scumbags around him over the Daily Wire and Michael Franzese, the fake pastor mafia piece of shit, and the TPUSA scum trash. They don't worship the truth. Let's see what else we got. More of the cheese pizza stuff, pizza cheese pizza. I mean, this is the stuff we were talking about with the WikiLeaks stuff 10 years ago. Prince Andrew hovering over some child. That guy's a piece of shit. I think we all know what needs to be done to him. So all these pieces of trash. The problem is these pieces, there's Zoran Mandami, Jeffrey Epstein's biological son, possibly. He's like a baby with Jeffrey Epstein and his mother. So apparently they were close. And then he shows up with Bill Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein, and he goes to all the parties as a baby. And he's literally raised by this group. So the Zoran Mamdani guy was literally raised by Jeffrey Epstein and Bill Clinton and that whole fucking gang. These people are the biggest fucking pieces of shit, dude. The biggest fucking pieces of shit. They all need to be removed from power and thrown in prison. They belong in prison. Jeffrey Epstein says that Mossad assassinated Robert Maxwell after he tried blackmailing them into paying him 400 million pounds, or he would reveal their workings as an agent. Sounds like probably what happened. Most likely what happened. So anyway, there's all that. There's not a whole lot else I can say about it. Alex Jones says Pizzagate is 100% real and is 99% a Democrat Party operation. When we expose it, CNN and the New York Times created a distraction from the real documents. I'd say that's true. I would say it's like 80% and 10% Republican. Probably but it doesn't really matter, dude. Because there really is no Democrat Party. The Democrats lost the war in 1864 and 1865. And ever since then, it's been this grand old party called the Republicans. And they've controlled both sides since then. And that's the Jewish mafia. It's the Jewish mafia since backed by B'nai B'rith in 1843. So anyway, anybody else have a comment here? Anybody else have a comment? Anybody else know anything about the Jeffrey Epstein stuff I haven't mentioned? Anybody want to tell me what they'd like to see done about this fucking scum Jew mafia that runs Washington, D.C., and that we tried to oust with Donald Trump and failed? We failed. That's why we backed Donald Trump, so that he would do something about it. And instead, he puts in Pam Bondi, and Kash Patel, that stupid fucking Indian that doesn't. Why is he even in my country? So anyway, and then we got the Mamdani guy. It's just they keep doing this to us. We need a total dissolution of this mafia. We need to purify our government. And ultimately, the only way you could really do it, and I say this, and it's not because I don't like other races, but you have to do it along racial and religious lines. You have to. That's the only way it's ever worked, ever. That's the only way the only way a legitimate, functional government has ever been created is by Europeans. From our perspective, I mean, the Asians are functional, China's functional, Korea's functional, Japan's functional, but the reason why the white countries aren't is because we're not allowed to organize racially. If we organized racially, then we could resolve a lot of these issues, because it'd be a different paradigm. At the center would be the importance of the perpetuation of the race. So when you have people committing these kinds of crimes against the race, they're a threat to the race. And so that racial element is important in politics, because then you're able to weed out the mafia that's going to do things that are so detrimental to the race that you'd have to get rid of them. So I think that's important, but that doesn't mean I want to have bad relations with other races, because I don't. Because you think automatically, if you think of making it along racial lines, and you think, well, what about all the Black African Americans? They're going to get hurt by this or something else. Not necessarily. I think we can work out some kind of relations with these other people. But if we don't organize racially and religiously, because you don't want this other group that says that, like the Zionists that say, we worship the Jews. So you can't have that. We don't worship the Jews. We're the Anglo-Saxon. We worship the light called Jesus Christ, the eternal Logos, which is not a man or a story in a book, but is an actual real thing called the Logos, which has always existed. And they knew about it in Athens in 500 BC. They called it the Logos, from Theos. You see, it's not a storybook character. It's called reason. It's called the intellect. The God of the white race is the intellect. It's been the intellect since 500 BC. That's the God of the white race, is the intellect. And it's like I told you before, that is why they wore a modius on their head, because it symbolized reason. It symbolized calculation. It symbolized intellect, the accounting. See, it's an instrument of measurement, a modius, and they wore it on their head to show that they were capable of calculating, of reason, of the intellect. See, that's the God of the white race of the ancient Greeks. So anyway, I'm going to end off here. I don't have anything else to say about it, but don't ever let them wag their finger in your face again and call you anti-Semite, call you whatever, call you Holocaust denier, use the Holocaust to try to bully you into submission and national suicide. Don't ever let them do it. Take that shit and shove it right back in their face, because they're orphan trafficking, orphan torturing, orphan murdering scum. That's who they are. That's who this fucking mafia is. Don't ever forget it.